Not at all.
I'm an open book. Like one time I was talking about something. I was talking about getting fucked off of bed one time, and the ex-boyfriend who welcome. And the ex that I was talking about DM'd me and was like, "That was fun," and I was like, "Oh,
you want to do it again?"
And then it just ended. I thought it was going
and
to
we've
go
been
there,
dating ever since.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Round 2.
I don't think my back could handle it. When you hit 30 and over, I'm just like, no, I need cushion. I already have a lot of cushion for the pushing, but I need even more cushion for
I hear you.
Look, I'm gonna say there's a reason why I do Pilates every day.
Ooh.
Right.
I was just checking. Has anybody's nudes leaked recently since it's National Nude Day?
No.
Damn.
It's like my
Community
feed's been
members
very
were
dry,
sliding.
unfortunately.
I was hoping some community members were sliding the DMs today. I was like, damn, nobody.
These prudes. they dial into our podcast to hear all our juicy tidbits, but they don't be offering up nothing.
Nothing.
Like, damn.
It's like sharing is caring. Come on now.
That is not cute.
Hi, aunties. This is Josh.
And Kyle from Fear the Queer podcast. What's brewing today?
Introducing Fear the Queer podcast.
Ask Yo Aunteas Dick Tales.
And the Olympics begin. So get your cups ready for Minority Report.
Well, hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntea Kerel.
It's Auntie Dawon.
And Auntea Jerrell's back, bitches.
I know that's right. We missed you last week, Jerrell. She was on the toilet last week.
Girl, she was on the flow by the toilet last week, okay? Let me paint the scene. Girl, let me tell you. You know how people normally gain weight on vacation? Because of the food poisoning, I lost weight. I literally came back from Mexico
Food poisoning.
a pound smaller than I was when I left.
And now you see how I was like not about it the first day we saw you.
Did it. I don't know how you did it.
I was toe up. So like, we have guests today, by the way. We have guests, and so for our guests, Jerrell and I were both in Puerto Vallarta last week, or a week and a half ago, however long now.
Okay.
And the first day I was going to see Jerrell, I had gotten food poisoning. And like I was like down and out, like did not get out the bed till like 1:30. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it down to the pool. And it's 4th of July. Everybody's like lit, turned up. And here's Kerel like trying not to shit himself.
But let's call a spade because based on the stories that you told, you're the one that decided to have ceviche on the beach.
Well, that was the only food. Girl was hungry, and
I mean, you can't suck a couple of toes and then be mad that you get sick.
Right.
I mean, come on now.
Not a couple of toes. But only two of us got sick out of like the 38. So we were just lucky the two to get sick. But so I'm like, oh my God, okay, just troop up at least to just, say hello to Jerrell, kiki with everybody for a second. And literally the whole time I'm like sitting there like clenching my butthole not to like project out shit in this fucking Manamar pool. So then I get back to the US, and then last week, like we're about to record, and Jerrell's like, I am not feeling well. And I'm like, girl, I know the feeling. So what did you also
sucking off your
toes? It was like
ceviche.
It was 27 hours of shit. It was just so bad. Like my body had nothing else to give. Like I'm just at this point, I'm just throwing up air at this point. Like, it was awful. It was really, really bad. But let me tell you, the next day though, she was like, and we're here. Let me tell you, like didn't skip a beat. I was like, let me get back to my wardrobe changes midday.
I know that's right.
Because when we were at the pool on 4th of July, I sure did do a wardrobe change in my speed up, which I said
I did too.
Oh, it's after 2:00. Okay, next one.
I don't like the night before. He's like, I don't know which Speedo to wear. I got this leopard one. I got the Kai Bell one. I was like, bitch, like just do a costume change. You know, the second you tell Jerrell costume change, it's a wrap. That bitch did a midday costume change and came back out in that bitch.
Was it like a reveal, like where you like just ripped off the first?
Yeah,
one
just
and then the
reveal.
second-
I sure did. Let me tell you. I went back to the beach chair. I said, wrap this towel around, put this on, put this one back on, tie it on the side. Oh, there she go.
The body out. I was like, come on. I know that's right. Oh, but community, you hear a couple additional voices this week. We have Fear the Queer podcast with us. And before we get into getting to know them better, what are your auntie names?
Hello, everyone. My name is Josh, and my auntie name is Auntie Vegas Bomb.
Ooh,
Vegas
I haven't
bomb.
done a Vegas bomb. And when's the last time I did a Vegas bomb?
That's what
Oh,
people
like-
say about me too. So
No one's saying that.
I'm done.
And I'm Kyle from Fear the Queer podcast, and I am Auntie Trenta, as in like the Trenta Starbucks cup, because I'm highly caffeinated, I'm large,
Okay.
and I might give you the shits. So
Oh,
there we go.
Oh, not the shits. Come on now.
Thanks,
We got to do
thanks
better.
community, for joining us today.
right.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week.
Right.
Coming to you live from the bathroom.
That
Porcelain
part.
Throne podcast.
That part. That is too funny. And you two live in like my favorite city of all cities, Chicago.
Chicago,
The Windy City.
We all three of us hold it very dear. Dawon and I lived there, and then Jerrell damn near lived there because she was always there.
Jenny from the block.
Well, Dawon, you were just there like a month ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dawon was. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like in and out, like for a couple meetings, and then I came back.
oh, man. How long have you guys
Well-
lived in Chicago?
Going on a decade.
Shut up.
Yeah. Which I said to
5
someone,
years.
5 years?
5 years.
Mhm.
You've been here for 5 years, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've known you for the entirety of my decade.
Right.
Good and bad.
I was about to say, is that good or bad thing?
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
I feel like pre-Josh, I was like kind of messy, and then post-Josh, I was messier. But
I love that energy. Yeah.
yeah.
We're
And
two fire signs, so it's just like
Right.
chaos all over. Yeah.
Mm.
Love it.
keep it
Love
spicy.
Well, and plus Kyle, so when I moved to Chicago, I was from Iowa, and Kyle actually saw my coming out journey like throughout the years, and it's
Love
like
it.
Mhm.
all the
Aw.
messes that go with it. And he's just like sitting on the side, like, oh God.
Girl.
Literally, I saw Josh like sashay into our workplace, and I was like, okay, that's a homo. And Josh was like, yeah, just like
What are you
like
talking about?
and walked past me, would not say hi. And I was like, who is this little queen? So then I was like, hi.
Ooh, not
I'm-
battle of the gays
Oh
in the
my
workplace.
God.
that
Mm-mm.
that
Well,
part.
Well, and then like literally half an hour after like introducing ourselves, and then Josh was super nice because Midwest Iowa. I'm from Michigan, so like we got that Midwest
Hey,
like
Michigan,
friendliness.
stand up.
Mhm.
Yes.
What part of
And
Michigan?
I'm from Oakland County, just like
Okay,
north of
yeah.
Detroit. Yeah.
Well, I'm from Saginaw, so I
Oh,
understand.
okay. Yeah.
Yes.
And Josh then like dropped this bomb and was just like, oh yeah, like we were talking about something, and Josh just goes, that reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. And I was like, oh, ex-girlfriend, like, okay,
Excuse me?
well, we
That
love
model?
fluidity, like we love fluidity. I have some ex-girlfriends from high school, so like I was like, okay, maybe he's like figured it out. And then like slowly but surely, it was like one drunken night after another drunken night after another drunken night of like exploring his sexuality, taking him to drag shows, and next thing you know, he's like, this is my boyfriend. And I was like, oh, okay, Josh has a boyfriend now. Josh
Love
is
it.
gay. Okay.
Work, right.
She didn't waste any time at all. She just bust that door open
Yeah,
and
Chicago
snagged a
does
hoe.
it to you.
Chicago, I was about to say,
Chicago
Chicago is very freeing.
It is,
Right.
yeah.
And liberating. It really
It
is.
is.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I still probably hold it so near and dear, even though like that portion of my life is long gone. But it's just like there's something that like liberated my being there. Like
Mhm.
it's just like You could be as anonymous as you want to be, or you could be as like visible as you want to be.
Yep.
Along however that journey is. And so I understand that.
I think in my Chicago days and mama can't hang no more. Like the thought of being at Hydrate till 4 a.m. in the morning is like, oh bitch, I need to have at least 2 naps that day before I even entertain.
Go to Charlie's till 5 and
girl, it's no.
Well,
no.
Y'all got to dark enough too that you can actually just take a nap in the back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Last time I was at Hydrate, I was dancing with like some moms, and I was just like, "These are my people." Like, they were having a good time. They were there with their like gay son, and I was just like, "Okay, we're just doing like the side to side, so I can like lull myself to sleep." Because the time before I went out, I got whiplash from dancing. So I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what I was doing.
Dancing now. What were you dancing now? I get whiplash. That's what I want to know.
It was 80s night. It was 80s night at Big Chicks. Because that'll do it to you.
It will. You sweat your edges out at Big Chicks.
God.
Amen.
Big Chicks. Oh, that takes me. One time we were at Big Chicks, and Josh was like, we were there with a few friends, and there was this person that we worked with that I did not care for. Shocking.
Ooh.
And Josh told him where we were. Next thing you know, he comes up and he's like, "Hi guys, I'm so excited to be here." And I was like, "Josh, why did you invite him to Big Chicks?"
Is that true, Josh? Is that your side of the story? Is that what happened?
Yes, because at the time I was just like, I truly believe that everyone deserves a chance here. Like, let's go. And then by the end of the night, I was just like, no, I see what you mean.
End of the night, Josh was there for only 10 minutes and then went, "Oh, I gotta go," and left me with
That's the worst.
Josh said, I have to go. And it was like barely midnight. This kid buys me a shot of something. And I heard him walk up to the bar and go, "I'll have a shot and of whatever's cheapest." So I don't know what I was drinking. Took a shot, felt sick to my stomach. Oh my God. I was like, I waited in line and it was like lesbian night. So it was just like a line of lesbians. And so they were all having fun. And I was like going to throw up. I was like, I cannot handle this.
Energy.
I like walked up and I was like, "Is this bathroom going to be available soon?" And like as I'm having like the tummy gurgles, and they're just like making out. They turn and go, "No," and I'm like, "Okay, so I need to get out of here." I rush through. He's like, "Kyle, where are you going?" I'm like, "Bleh." Barely made it out of Big Chicks. Just tried to hold it in. Vomit all the way up my arm. I haven't been back. That was a few years ago, and I haven't been back. Well, because of the pandemic and other reasons. But then I could hear him. I was like,
a little thing called the pandemic, the coronavirus.
Just
side note.
Pandemic, yeah. And I like ran down an alleyway, and I could hear him running after me. "Kyle, where'd you go?" And I'm like, "This fucker! Like, are you kidding me?" I like text Josh. I was like, "How dare you leave me with him?" And Josh was like, "Oops."
He's like, "Well, girl,
what?"
He's like, "Girl, I met Scarlett though. Hey."
Look, Scarlett, you get your life in Scarlett.
I'm too old for
in that tiny little like closet that you
especially on a Sunday fun day. Oh,
Sunday fun day Scarlett is like the best.
There's nothing like walking out of Scarlett and then it'd be so bright out. You're like, oh, girl.
Let me just walk right back in.
Right?
It's a whole different world.
Oh man, community! We could talk about Chicago all day. It happens.
We just ostracized like a good 40% of our listeners right now.
Right,
we don't live in Chicago. We don't know nothing about Chicago.
Come visit.
Exactly. I know Market Days is coming up.
It is.
Yeah.
3 days of Market Days at that.
Yeah. And I'm so excited because our Pride Parade was moved back to Chicago or to October. Yeah. So like Pride Month for us was dry as hell. So it's just like Market Days, like skins out. I'm so ready. Booty shorts are ready.
Oh,
there's going to be a whole other rash of bubble guts going on after Market Days.
That's
true.
Right. That's right. You ain't never lied on
during market days. I always get the super long corn dog. You were waiting for what I was gonna say, but I always get that super long corn dog. So of course there's bubble guts at market days. It's like I have to.
I didn't know people actually got those corn dogs.
Not only does Kyle get the corn dog, she also takes a photo shoot with the corn dog every year. It's like a production of
yes.
It looked like oh, look at the trade I got at market days.
Oh, so how did Fear the Queer podcast come about then? So you guys became best friends at work,
right?
How did the podcast come about?
It's Kyle's idea, actually.
Well, I don't want to take too much credit because I'm a goofy, crazy person. But basically, I'm a failed film student, so I have a lot of ideas, but I'm not good at film. Started writing this web series.
Hold up. I didn't even think you could even put those words together because I mean, being a film student usually means that you failed at everything else. So how did that come about?
Honestly, it you're not wrong. What can I do that I'm not good at math? I'm not good at science. I hate deadlines. Film.
She said, "I like to watch TV."
Right. How did you do the podcast?
I started writing this web series, and then it was loosely based on Josh and I. It was kind of like the queer version of The Odd Couple. I'm a little all over the place, hippy dippy, unorganized. Josh is super organized, very type A. And so we started writing that podcast or that web series, and then Josh got broken up with. And
that's a nice way of putting it.
He was
in front of a dumpster on my birthday.
Oh damn!
Yeah, it was.
That is a web series.
It was not cute. And next thing I know, my friend's coming running inside. Have you ever been to the closet?
Yes,
we're just gonna do
I love the closet.
So we were at the closet.
All these bars.
I know, where
That's my favorite after spot.
So good. And my friend comes running in and it's Josh got broken up next to the dumpsters. And I walk outside, Josh is crying into the arms of our tall friend. So Josh is real little and our tall friend's up here. It was baby couldn't hang. And so I was okay, let's really work on this web series. Let's make a thing of it. And
wait, outside by the dumpster, you're having this conversation?
Oh no, I basically
I'm trying to track. Wipe those tears away. We're gonna write this web series. It's gonna be fabulous.
I looked at Josh and I went, okay, are you okay? Josh is good. I'm going back inside. And I was can we get him an Uber? This is not cute. So we started talking at Josh's, and Josh was yeah, let's do a web series. Well, that's expensive, and I'm unorganized as hell.
But I was failed film student, so
a failed film student. So what do failed film students do? But make a podcast.
Do everything but the filming.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hell no. I'm so not tech.
Well, and it was kind of meta too because there's a plot point in the series where we start a podcast together in the web series, and so we're just let's just skip all that, just go straight to the podcast. Here we are.
Yeah.
So it's a weekly podcast or is it bi-weekly?
It's a weekly podcast. Yes.
I love it.
Yes, we're weekly when we're on top of things. But we're verse, so it depends.
Yeah, we've had many comeback episodes throughout the years.
You really emphasize the come, honey.
Hey, that's a great title of an episode.
Right, just walking into an empty room. We're back, guys.
And so what is Fear the Podcast about? What's the foundation of the podcast?
So basically, Fear the Queer is just everything on our queer agendas. And Kyle and I just love to talk about basically anything, relationships, what's going on in politics, media, the fact that Kyle's a failed film student.
Drag her.
I somehow make it always about me. So in my head, I'm just well, if you're talking good or bad, I'm happy with it.
There we go.
Right.
We got some attention.
And it's almost like therapy for us because no one else wants to listen to us. So we might as well just talk at ourselves into a microphone.
That's a valid statement.
Yes.
Right.
That's a valid statement. Oh my God. So looking at your bio, Josh, you said you're from Iowa. And you said you grew up as an amateur mime to survive the horrors of high school.
Yes.
So, what were those horrors? But what made you choose miming
to escape
the horrors? Was it just because of the quietness of it?
She said,
right. Let me just put myself in this box.
Like I found that like sentence like interesting. I was like, okay, a mime to escape the horrors of high school. That's interesting.
Yeah. So high school was a little rough for me, obviously, because, you know, I'm clearly a homosexual. That's trying to hide it pretty well. You know, dated a girl for a few years who was technically my best friend. I was just like, yeah, we're so cool, you know, love her to death. And so I don't know if you guys do this at your high schools and stuff like that, but we have competitive drama. Yeah. In which people can like submit like one-act plays, you know, and one of them was mimes. And you could either be in a group or a solo mime. And I didn't have the confidence at the time to be a solo mime. I wasn't, you know, really into my shape-shifting abilities here. So I was just like, okay, let me just...
This was her pre-voguing days, by the way.
The pre-vogue.
Exactly, yeah. Right. When it was just the Macarena for me. Yeah.
It still is just the Macarena. Like,
I can't.
Still.
Not Macarena.
That's how I got the whiplash at the club. That's what I was doing.
Right.
So shortly afterwards, we started getting into competitive mime competitions, and we went to All-State for like the Iowa Mime Drama Association.
Oh, damn.
And of course, like that totally turned a switch in my head. I was just like, oh my God, like I run this school like as a mime in all black with like white makeup on. Just like, damn, I'm really bad, aren't I?
But no one could hear her because she's just in the bunch.
She's like,
no words.
Right. I'm a bad bitch.
Yeah. They're like, what is she doing over there in the corner at the
The degree of confidence that is exuding from the concept of being a mime is I just cannot.
And
like, this is how it goes down in Iowa. It just had no idea.
It's a great time. Like Jinx Monsoon says, like, convince yourself.
Yes, illusion.
So is the miming gave you confidence? Was it because now you had found a group of peers, or is it just like?
Yeah, kind of. It was more the sense of like, yeah, I found a good friend group that I'm still connected to this day. We still host mime no, I'm kidding. Like we still just keep in contact with each other. And then I don't know, just not really finding something that you're good at or something that you like in high school, I feel like is a struggle for anybody, you know? And so like even as something as like ridiculous and as funky as, you know, mime competitions, I was like, hey, at least I found myself there. Yeah. And so that's why it kind of like, it really helped me be a lot more confident in myself, I guess. So
that is interesting. Okay. Yeah. I, like literally the second I read that, I was like, I have never read this sentence in my life. But I am so here for it.
Our all-state competition, it was me and 4 other girls, because of course no other guy is going to be a competitive mime. And basically the concept was a night at the movies, and we played it to Star Wars music. And basically it was the all-state competition. We knew, like, we were all seniors at this point. We knew it was like the end of our session. We gave one last final performance. All of us had the adrenaline pumping. And then at the end of it, we all just turned to each other and like just gave each other a hug and like cried in front of the judges. And the judges are just like, okay, thank you. Like,
it's like an episode of Glee. Like,
yeah, basically. It's like predated Glee.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Just silently crying.
Right.
I could see a whole like Wes Anderson movie based on this. Like it's like very Royal Tenenbaums, very obscure, very like out there, but I could so see this happening. I mean, it did happen, but I could visualize like the evolution of this.
Kyle's actually directing the feature film.
Yeah,
so,
you know it's gonna be years till it comes out. If I can't read myself, how can I read other people? Come on now, like.
Oh, And then Kyle, you have an alter ego yourself.
I do.
Named Adele Weiss.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get into drag?
Well, my mom is basically, I always say that she's like a drag queen. I come from a very theatrical family, which is just coded for a lot of trauma. But I was like, I don't know, I got really bored one day and I was like, I should put on some makeup. And then I had a friend who was doing a like charity benefit thing. It was like, come dressed in drag, we're gonna give money to this organization. I was like, that sounds great. So I did it and I was hooked. I was like, I need to wear titties all the time. And at first I had a couple of names. I've been Vivi Darling, I've been Barbra Streisand, I've been yeah, I've been She Loves the Carbs. I was Nova Scotia. But then I kind of landed on Adele Weiss because just like my mom, we're both theatrical, and I was like, I want to like honor my mother, and she always would play Sound of Music, and I was like, okay, so Edelweiss is like her favorite song. I have like a little Edelweiss tattoo. I was like, okay, Edelweiss, Adele Weiss, Adele Weiss. There we go. So my shtick is like, bless my homeland forever. I'm like a Midwest church casserole. It's delicious, but you don't know what's inside of me.
But you know there'll be some peas.
There's gonna be, well, there's always gonna be some peas.
There's always some peas in a casserole.
There's gonna be peas, mayo, cheese. Oh, okay. Now I'm getting hungry. Sorry, that was. I know what I'm making for dinner. And that's it. Just peas, mayo, peas. We're good.
And maybe some raisins.
Maybe some. Well, if we're lucky. If we're lucky.
If they're in season.
You know how to spice up a dish.
You just add some raisins, add some mayo. Oh, mayo's pretty spicy though. So like I don't want to turn people off to it.
This conversation is so white. Oh my God.
I love it.
Welcome.
I was going to talk about food poisoning. My God.
Well, if you aren't regular, just have some of my casserole. You'll be good.
There you go.
Yeah. So Adele Weiss is like my like alter ego. She's me, but a little bit more of a diva and goofy and fun. And it's been so nice because like during the pandemic, I was like really gearing up to just like start performing and getting out there. And then everything shut down. So I was like, it actually was great because if I went out a year and a half ago looking like how I did, well, you bad. Did. It was bad. Well, I did. I did. And that's we don't show those pictures, but the eyebrows were oatmeal-y. It was a moment. But you know, we figured out how to contour my nose and cover my eyebrows, so everything's good. Josh is my drag daughter, actually. So
I saw those pictures.
Yes, saw those pictures. Yes.
Yeah.
So like I'm always interested for folks that do drag.
Mm-hmm.
Where does Kyle and Adele start, or is it like a hodgepodge?
It's interesting because I feel like, I mean, if you come into my apartment, it is like there's drag stuff. I also, since I'm a failed filmmaker, I also do illustrations, so that's like another thing. So I have like art supplies everywhere.
He's so talented. Like, super you know, I've like shared some stuff on my socials and whatnot. It's like you're really talented.
I agree.
Thank you. So it's kind of like I just kind of mesh everything together. But there's definitely like Kyle, who's like, I'm a little bit nicer as Kyle, and I'm a little bit more like what's the word, like self-deprecating.
Josh said
yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like, when we were doing the music video together, I was like, okay, how was that shot? Was that good? The film student was coming out. But so it's a lot of like, it's basically the same person. I'm just a little bit more of a diva as Adele Weiss and stupid, and as Kyle, I'm a little bit more self-deprecating. But both of them are delusional as hell. So
where do you derive your drag aesthetic from? Like, what are the inspirations that really drive what you like out of how you present yourself?
It's definitely a lot of like Scandinavian, Slavic, like, you know, white people stuff. Like, you know, no, it's a lot of like, because my mom is Norwegian, or her father was like Norwegian. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of like old films. It's a lot of creepy like church rummage sales. You know when you like go to a church rummage sale and you see that one doll off on the side that's like kind of winking at you, and you're like, is she winking because she's having a good time, or is she crying for help?
That old leather purse that's barely hanging out.
Yeah, and you go, I could do something with this. It's a little bit of that. It's a lot of like, I had a church upbringing, very heavy in the Lutheran church, so it's kind of like me taking religious trauma and like regurgitating it with drag aesthetic.
That's cool.
And also,
so you're really living like that casserole.
Oh,
fantasy.
100%. I mean, again,
she's
delicious.
having Tupperware parties, you know, drinking martinis out of like a Kool-Aid jug, you know.
I'm having flashbacks to Michigan myself.
Yes, yeah.
That is so Midwest, though.
It is so Midwest. Yeah, it's like heavy Midwest. I can't shake it.
And Josh, what was it like for you getting in drag?
It was liberating and intimidating at the same time. Simply because, I mean, one, it just felt so nice to just like feel the feminine fantasy, especially as Adele's daughter. Yeah. Something that I never thought I would allow myself to do in life. I'm just like, oh, I love this. But we talked about it for so long that I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to automatically fail at this, aren't I? Like, I'm going to walk in, my brows are going to melt off. And, but no, it was such a great time. We stayed up for like 24 hours producing that video, getting makeup done and stuff like that. And I would do it again in a heartbeat, honestly.
Well, good, because we're gonna.
He's like, I am on my way right now.
Yes, I already have a wig picked out for you and everything.
Right. We actually have a lot of Halloween ideas coming up because we both love spooky season. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to try to play with like some mother-daughter combos of like Halloween queens and stuff.
I mean, if you need a third for Hocus Pocus, bitch, I will come to Chicago.
We
can do a Hocus Pocus
Let's
group.
do it. Let's do it.
I'll cast a spell on you.
Right. We'll just go to Starlight Brunch on Sunday. Stop by Big Chick.
Sisters!
Right.
I love it.
And then Josh, you're let me get it right though. You're in a relationship, right? Because I am
in a relationship.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. I've been creeping on the IG just make sure. But you're also in an interracial relationship, and that's similar to like the dynamic that Dawon, Jerrell, and I have. Coming out of Chicago and being in that gay scene, how has that? I guess what are the pros and cons of it that you've experienced being in an interracial relationship in Chicago?
Well, it's interesting because the people who I thought were going to be a little bit more judgmental or like ask stupid questions actually weren't the people that ended up being like my queer family.
Yeah.
Everyone seems like the other gay men that I'm like you're associated with and stuff like that, don't have a problem. It's more, and I hate to call them out, but it's actually white women that tend to be the ones that are the most like, oh, so like, how's that dynamic? And, you know, they ask questions like, okay, so like, do you have a thing for white guys and stuff like that? Like, I thought your fetish was like Latinos and stuff like that. And I'm just like sitting there like, oh my God. And from what I've heard from his point of view here is that, you know, there were a few comments of being like, oh, do you have like the yellow fever and stuff like that? Luckily, nothing of that has been said to my face, thankfully, because I would have popped off.
They know better. They know better.
Right, exactly. But thankfully, not too much. I think a lot of people overall in general just think that, you know, we're just a happy Midwestern kind of on the same lines as Kyle, not too much mayo, but slightly mayo-ish. you know,
spicy mayo.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's good because like I'm always interested just because like having lived there is this kind of almost slight undertone sometimes of some spots being accepting, other spots are like, you get that little eye when you're at the bar. You're like, oh, okay, I know what that eye is about, and things like that. So I've always like been interested to ask other interracial couples in whatever city they're in to see what that dynamic is for them.
So you were dating while you were in Chicago then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually met at Big Chicks.
Okay.
And I threw up on my arm. Yeah, no, we met.
Actually, the coworker that we hate. So yeah.
right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. I married your coworker that you hate. So now that we know that's how.
Talk about therapy. Oh.
But
no,
like,
actually, the big. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, actually, the biggest question that people have for us is that he's actually 10 years older than me, and so that's actually the thing that people think. They're just like, well, you know, the dynamics are very different. You know, he's going to want to have a house. He's going to want to be married. He's going to want to live in the burbs and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, yeah, me too, I guess, one day. I don't know, you know. I don't know. I always brush that off because I'm just like, who cares? Who cares? We'll figure it out when it comes, you know?
Yeah. I know that's the biggest like thing in Chicago is like, not the burbs.
Ooh, moving all the way out to Schaumburg and having to do that 45-minute drive. Ooh,
I know.
No. No, ma'am. All your friends are getting together and having fun, and you out there sitting in your little house,
on the
whatever.
damn
Like, I'll be there in 40 minutes, just crawling along.
Right. I
and then trying to find a parking
out.
spot.
I know. I have to drive him out to O'Hare on Sunday, and even that alone gives me so much anxiety because I'm just like, oh God, I hate this.
Yeah.
No. Don't miss those days. I hear you on that. And how did you guys come up with Fear the Queer, like the name?
It was actually the name of the web series.
Oh, okay.
And on the web series, on the web series where they had like the kind of the odd couple aesthetic, they also were on a podcast called Fear the Queer. So we were just like, all right, we'll just like do that. And I like the idea of calling something like, oh, Fear the Queer, because Josh and I joked like, oh God, people are gonna think we're like anti-queer, like, oh, you should be fearing them. Yeah. And I was like, that's kind of the joke, is like we come on and we talk about like just anything. And there's really nothing scary, but you know there's going to be bigots everywhere that are going to be like, oh my God, you guys are going to hell, or you're sinners. And I'm like, yeah, oh, fear us. So that's kind of the reason we came up with that name.
The more I keep thinking about hell, the more I keep thinking how lit it's going to be.
It was like, gonna be so warm.
And not, I mean, just like, forget about like the murderers, but like all the other people that are just like, you know, just having a whole lot of like, if we're going to be there because we're gay, that party, there's going to be glitter and fire everywhere. Disco for days. Like, it's just going to be amazing. I mean,
and the clack fans and everyone on clack fans. Clack.
Who wants to be up in them clouds, you know, with them little wings and just...
I be sweating and stuff. You see me now, I'm already sweating right now.
Just humming hymns all day.
I already do that.
Party.
No.
Right.
A little Fred Hammond. Well, we're going to have Fear the Queer on the rest of this episode. We're going to have them, help us out with this Ask Yo Aunteas question. So what time is it?
Ask Your Aunteas.
You guys did good. That was good.
I was like, you guys did so much better than we try to secret out.
That was good. I even heard a little vibrato.
You know,
Me.
Yes. Oh. Okay. Well, I'll log off now. That's
right. And we're gone. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
This week is short and to the point, and I wonder if this person wants to. Well, the person that's we're gonna say, because he's been on the show before, it was Landon that filled in last week for us.
Oh,
so this is
Miss Chocolate Martini.
Miss Chocolate Martini.
Oh,
so it says, and it was a follow-up question, so I don't even know what the original question is. I forget now, but it says, "What's the most ridiculous thing you have done for some dick?" Short and to the point.
Oh, the question is from last week, right?
I don't know. Well, this one's been out there for a while, so he must have another question out there that we haven't
previous,
utilized
yeah.
Oh, I know what the original question was. The original question was what constitutes good dick. So maybe we'll turn this to a two-parter. So what makes a good dick? If you're into dick, if you're into ass, what makes whatever you into good? And then what's the most right toes, whatever, elbows,
knees and toes,
belly button,
not knees and
toes. You into, head, shoulders, knees, and the toes. So what makes that good? I haven't
heard that in so long.
Right? So what do you like for what's good to you, and then what's the most ridiculous thing you've done for it?
Okay,
we'll start. Ooh, Josh, you look like something already percolating there.
Well, I have a story, but I'm going to we say this on our podcast too. Kyle, would you like to go first?
You're so nice. Oh my God. Yes, I would. So what constitutes good dick for me? I'm a little full of myself, if that didn't come off already. And I get so turned on by people who are into me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Someone's they're just like into what you're giving, and I'm like, okay, I like you.
Yeah.
But do I really like them? I don't know. But I don't know. Usually it's like 3 or 4 dates later. And I'm like, okay.
It's like,
it's all right. They always break up with me first though. So I don't know what that means.
That's a whole nother
That's a whole nother story. I definitely think that like, if you're into me, I'm like there. I'm like, what's up? What do you need? Oh my God, I'm there for you. Oh, come over. Do you need something? And years ago, like it was maybe like I'd lived here a year and a half, and I hadn't really dated any guys. I got on like a few dates, and I was like, I need to get with a guy. I just have to. And so I started seeing this guy who was like kind of rude, but I was into it because again, he was into me. So I was like, okay, cool. And I was supposed to meet up with him. He lived in Wicker Park, which people who don't. And I was living in Ravenswood at the time, and I was like, oh God, I have to take this bus.
Oh damn, you might as well have been in Schaumburg.
I was so rough, and I was waiting for the bus, and it was pouring down rain. So I texted him. I was like, you know what? Literally, can we have a rain check? And he was like, honestly, no. If you don't, he was like, if you don't come, I don't care. You won't come. And and I was just so desperate to just like, oh my God, I just want to suck a dick. So I was like, okay, I'll see you in 40 minutes.
That was percolated.
Oh yeah. So we meet. I decide, okay, he's fine. He's like, okay, he's very hipstery, very like nose ring PBR, like flannels, listen to vinyl kind of hipstery. And I was like, okay, I can work with this. So he invited me to a party, and I was like, okay. And it was
after all that, he's inviting you to a party?
Well, a party like a few days later. He was like, we finished the date. And I'm kind of a sucker for bad teeth, and he had terrible teeth. He has terrible teeth. He did not get veneers.
You know what? They always say there is somebody for somebody out there. There is always.
I mean, I don't need like missing teeth like Skinner sort of thing, but like a little gap. I love a little gap.
Oh yeah,
that's cute. Yeah. So he had like a little gap. I was into it.
No halitosis though, right? I mean,
no. And he was a good kisser.
That's what you like, but
yeah, I'm like, ooh, stinky. No, he was he good kisser. So I was like, okay, we'll go on another date. So the other date didn't happen, but then he invited me to said party. It was like over Labor Day weekend. He goes, bring friends. So I brought a few of my friends, and it was fine, but it was definitely a lot of that like crazy hipster, like early 2010s energy. And I was like, I'm like, I can keep up. And we got a little bit drunk, and my friend who I brought, she decided that she wanted to hold a seance in his living room. Which I don't know if that was the energy we were bringing.
Look, first of all, I just need to stop you. You need to write this web series because it's like I'm like sitting here thinking like I would watch this. Like
it's
the way that this story is unfolding. Like I would watch this with the mimes.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I would watch all of it.
Oh, the mime is a must.
I need the backstory. I need the front story. I need the flash forward.
Literally the first episode.
80 years old.
Literally the first episode starts off like this.
Yes. I love it. And Josh and I did joke here, like we could call it like mime your business.
Ooh,
just mime your business.
I love
that.
Bars. That's amazing.
All about the ideas, but not the follow through.
The execution.
So execution is so we're at this party. She decides she wants to have a seance. There's like 100 people, 100 hipsters at this party, and they're all doing their own thing. And she sits everyone down, and she's like, "Okay, we're gonna have a seance." And I don't know what she said because I was pretty drunk. And she was like, something happened, and someone's like, "Oh my God, there's something here." I jump up, twist my ankle, and I went down hard. Not the first time I've fallen in front of some people I've been attracted to. So that's like not unusual. I'm very clumsy. So I twist my ankle. My ankle starts to swell. And I'm like, okay, this is fine. I really want to hook up with this guy though. It is his house. Maybe, you know, I'm kind of like, he's introducing me to his new friends. It's like, okay, this is nice.
You didn't fart when you landed, right? Because
I did not that time. Okay. But I just, you know, sometimes
because that could be a deal breaker for a lot of people.
Well, you know, if that was the ghost being summoned, so the spirit moved me. But so I kind of limp over to him, and I'm hanging on him, and he's thinking like, oh, Kyle's like really into me, and I'm like, no, my ankle just hurts. But I didn't want to tell him that because I was like, I want to get with him. So the night goes on, my friend leaves. Turns out she went with his friends to the lake. She had this long, flowy, like white dress. She thought she's Stevie Nicks. And she jumped in the water, destroyed the dress. I'm still at his house. She's like sending me pictures like, oh my God, so fun. Your friend's great. And I'm like, yeah, my friend, air quotes. And we ended up, you know, sleeping together, but my ankle was so swollen that he was like, oh, that was great, we should get together soon. And I'm just like, I can't see you because I'm on like bed rest for a week, like icing my ankle. Oh, he was interesting.
So you don't made it through the rain for the rain guy with halitosis. Went through a seance, sprained your ankle, got the hook up, but then you were on bed rest. Were you on bed rest for the ankle or bed rest for the dick?
Oh, the ankle. Where I'm not giving him that much credit.
I know that's right.
Like I was like, oh, okay. We should exchange pictures first. Ooh. I mean, it was fine. It was fine. It was fine. I love just, huh?
Do I know this person?
You know his name, Edwin. I also went out with people for. Oh, you're like Edwin from Chicago. Oh my God.
Drop a DM, Edwin.
Wait. Oh, he did. Wait, do you know an Edwin? Bad teeth?
No.
Do you? Have you hooked up with? No,
Dawon knows an Edwin. Dawon, you know an Edwin.
Not intimately, no.
But you know of an Edwin.
Is he a
that
graphic
lived in
designer?
Wicker Park?
Is he a graphic designer?
Oh God.
I don't know what he does. I don't know.
It's okay. I didn't really know what he did either until he told me.
Yeah.
So it was.
Oh my God.
Well, Kerel's married to our coworker. Dawon knows Edwin. Like,
this is that Chicago connection.
Yes.
Well, because
so weird.
When I met Adam, my partner, his roommate's name is Edwin.
Okay.
That lived in Wicker Park.
I mean, there's not a lot of.
I am.
I'm like,
Was he? I mean, was he a Gemini? Because Edwin was a Gemini.
Oh, look, I was into my man. I wasn't into all that.
You said halitosis. No, thank you.
Did Edwin have a little gap? That's how we'll know. That's how we'll know. Look up them pictures on Facebook.
I don't even know.
You need to tell.
Do you have dark hair?
Bad tattoos. Have what?
Dark hair.
He had like darker hair, but like a blonde handlebar mustache.
No.
Oh, okay, damn.
So close,
but
so close.
Well, Josh.
Well, I mean, Adam and I have been together for 6 years, so this was quite a while ago. So a lot could have changed since then.
True. That is
Can you guys just have Edwin on next week so that
exactly.
we
We
can
need
just all
to
talk
find
about
Edwin.
it?
We need to find Edwin.
As a matter of fact, we have come in the Zoom.
Oh my God. And it was so bad. I don't know what I would say. I'd just be like, oh, hey. And he'd be like, hi. Because he did ghost me. There was a seance and he eventually ghosted me.
Well, it might have been
it might have been the ankle. But we did meet up afterwards, not to hook up with each other, but I just wanted to call him an asshole for ghosting me. I don't know. Do you guys ever need like closure from like a hookup and you're like, I don't want to hate you, so I'm going to tell you you're an asshole? So I did.
Like another Ask Yo Aunteas question.
Yeah. Attractive people.
But he, you know, he was fine. He did try to be my Valentine. He gave me a cupcake at a very busy bar, even though I made it very clear we were just friends. Opened the box, and the box said, "Will you be my Valentine?"
Oh well, was it a Molly's cupcake though?
I don't know what it was. Molly's is really good. I love Molly's.
Really. Okay, Josh. So what's your ridiculous? What's the most ridiculous you've done? And what constitutes good dick, ass, whatever you're into?
Good dick. Okay, yeah. So I'll answer good dick first here.
Okay.
So as you guys know, like we were just talking about, like my coming out story started in Chicago and has now progressed to the mess that you see today here. And you know, one thing that after my first breakup with my boyfriend outside of, you know, the closet in front of the dumpster, one thing I realized after downloading Grindr is how fun it is to kind of just have like, I want to say anonymous hookups in a way. Like you kind of get to know each other's like names and stuff like that, but that's about it. And you're just like, all right, I'll be over in a few minutes here. And Kyle knows this. Like,
it's so true.
Yeah, Kyle knows this. I actually found a neighbor who I lived with up in Andersonville, and we would hook up like, you know, every month or so here, but I didn't want to know anything of him besides his name and his address. And like afterwards he would like, you know, try to cuddle and be like, so like, what do you think about, like, you know, are you dating anybody and stuff like that? I'm like, I gotta go, bye. So at first I would have said, like maybe 2 years ago, what I would have said, like the anonymous like thrill of the hookup is what constitutes good dick for me. Now that I'm in, you know, a loving relationship and stuff like that, I was like, there actually, I hate to be a romantic, but I was like, you know, there is something about having good dick from someone you love, for sure.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. But now we're going to take it back to 2017 where anonymous dick was fun. So the most ridiculous thing that I've done, it was actually at Sidetrack in 2017. It was me, Kyle, and friend of the pod, Matt. And this was, you know, right at the beginning of the Trump era. So like everything was like, you know, really, I guess vitriol, I guess you would say. Yeah. And a Taylor Swift's new song came out at the bar. And, you know, this is the time where everyone hated Taylor Swift. She's a snake, you know, blah, blah, blah. Kanye for life. And Kyle then decided to go on this, like, I guess I would say monologue of how much he hated Taylor Swift and how much she validates white supremacy.
I never said that I hated Taylor Swift. I hated her white supremacy supporters because she would never speak out. And I was like, that's bullshit. You have such a huge platform. I mean, she has now, but this is back a few years ago. So I was going on a rant about that. Yes.
And our friend Matt, for some reason, I don't know why, started to fight back against Kyle about, you know, it's not her responsibility as a pop star to do that. She's really successful. Why are you hating on a woman like this? And then all of a sudden, like, as they're kind of like discussing each other, I'm just like, you know, holding my drink, just going back and forth here. I noticed that a lot of other people in the bar are starting to turn and like look at them because their voices kept getting higher and higher. And eventually it got to like mean personal attacks where, I hate to call him out, but our friend Matt told Kyle, was just like, you're just mad that you're never going to be famous.
Oh, damn.
I turned to Matt. I was just like, that's the meanest thing you've ever said to him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So then finally at one point, there's these two guys, never met them. One of them did have bad teeth, came over to us and they were trying to break up the fight. And they're just like, hey guys, like, what's going on? Like, you know, we love Taylor Swift. Oh, everyone, let's have a good time. Didn't really work. Kyle and Matt were still like ignoring the two guys and still just like going at each other. And then I don't know how, but they were still fighting and they followed us all the way to the closet. So that like mile track from sidetrack to the closet, those two were arguing about Taylor Swift. The two random guys wanted to have fun with us. And I'm just standing there like, I want to go home, like so badly. So we get to the closet. And by this point, it was like, 2:30. That's when you go to the closet, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still arguing. And it's getting to the point where like now everyone at the closet is watching them. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to down a shot. I'm going to go on the dance floor. I'm going to dance by myself, I guess. I don't care. And I was dancing. And then all of a sudden I noticed that there's this other guy who I hate to say, but I didn't find him very attractive, kept looking at me. And I was just like, whatever, this night's ruined anyway. Might as well just dance with this guy here. So we started grinding on the dance floor. He kept kind of pulling me towards the bathroom. I was just like, oh, I see where this is going here. But I look over at Kyle and Matt, and they're still screaming at each other here. Like, faces are red. Everyone's still just like staring at them like, And at that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it.
I'm going to the bathroom, girl.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And so we hooked up in the closet's bathroom. And the only reason why I wanted to do it is so that way I could avoid my friends fighting.
I just want to add that when Josh came stumbling out, like,
stumbling out. Ooh, that was good there.
Matt came out and I was just like, where was he? But Matt and I had already made up. So you went in with us fighting and we came out to being like, we're best friends again. It's okay.
That's wild.
I was like, I can't forgive you though.
Jerrell, what constitutes good dick and what's the most ridiculous thing you've done for it?
Well, I mean, we've already answered that question. So I'm not going to rehash yeah, because we talked about that. What constitute good dick before.
I forget.
That was the previous one. Girl, we got like 30 minutes left on the episode. So I'm going to go to the question that we have. So I'm not going to answer that one because Mama got a hard stop. So, but as far as the message thing I've done, I have a low number count, but the only thing I've taken someone home from a bus stop before. That's about it.
Oh.
So, bus stop.
Girl, yeah. So
was it the bus driver?
I am so here.
Bus driver?
I am so here.
No, it was after the bar, and it was like right. Bar close was almost up, but I didn't like have a car at the time. I lived downtown, and so instead of like taking an Uber, I was like, oh well, I can just take the bus for free and get home just fine versus paying an $8 Uber. And so I had just missed the bus, but I didn't see that I missed the bus, and there was another person waiting for the bus. And so we waited for probably like 30 minutes, and we were like talking and stuff like that. And then we're like, well, he was like, well, do you want to just share a cab? And I was like, oh, well, I mean, I'm going this direction. And he was like, oh yeah, I live like 3 blocks away. And I was like, oh, well, we can share a cab, trying to save some coins. So the cab we ordered the cab. And we get to my place because I was the first stop. And he was like, well, can I come up? And I was like, okay.
I know that's right.
I was all right. That was like the one time I live freely. Normally, I'm like, we got to talk for at least like 4 or 5 weeks, 7 weeks before you even get the booty. So,
right.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
I don't even remember. Damn. I just remember that his name was Nate. That's all that I remember.
So
that's a hot guy.
Been that good.
Nate.
It must not have been that good because there's certain ones that you remember.
Yeah, it was my first uncut penis. I do remember that too.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're like, what is this?
Right? I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, Nate, uncut penis.
Yeah.
Come through.
Come through, Nate. Dawon, what's the most ridiculous thing you've done?
The only thing that I can think that comes to mind is like I've traveled for dick.
Yeah, that MapQuest dick.
Like travel.
Not the 9 pages.
Yeah.
Keep them in order.
Drive real slow. Make sure your lights are on so you can see what the street signs are.
It's so true. It is so true.
I gotta turn around.
Yeah.
People less than a certain age don't know that life. They don't know.
Yeah. I've traveled far. Like I've driven hours for some dick.
Ooh,
Oh my
hours.
God.
Oh,
Hours.
God.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a guy that I ended up hooking up with that lived in Syracuse, New York. And I was in Ohio. And it was good.
Oh, well, there you go.
It was good.
Good. I'm glad.
Please.
It was really good.
Please tell me you stayed the night.
No, I got back on the road and drove back. Mom got things to do.
Wow.
Was it your next dick appointment?
Yeah.
Right. You went through a tank of gas, girl.
Hey, you know what the heart wants, the heart wants.
Was it the heart?
Apparently the hole. That's look. Doom, doom, doom. Girl, it was beating all right.
Exactly.
Hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't really like. I never felt like back then. This was before like Grinder days and all that stuff. I never felt like weird about like, oh, something's gonna happen with me because I know how to fight. So I'm like, we can do this.
Right, I'm gonna show up.
You know, or I could just turn back around. But we had been talking for a while or whatever, so I knew like it was the real deal. But
oh man,
it was.
I don't think I had any ridiculous moments. Like
You
obviously,
can't
I've been
have no nasty pig hat on and ain't got no nasty.
But I'm okay. But here's the thing: I'm okay with it. So it's not that ridiculous to me. Like, it might be ridiculous.
You're right. She said own it. She said own it, honey.
Right.
I do. I'm trying to think. One that's kind of weird is like I remember I went to Steamworks one time, was hooking up with a guy, and then we left to go hook up at his place. So like you like leave the place and hook up to go leave the place to go to his place. So that's the only one that I'm like, okay, that is a little odd. It's like we was already hooking up at Steamworks. Like, why did we leave? And he had a nice place. It was up in like Andersonville. He was like one of those high rises along the lake. So I remember like looking out, like,
okay,
man, this is pretty out here.
Yeah.
But
Well,
like,
I guess that's one thing I've done too. I have taken someone to Steamworks.
Oh, you've taken them to see, yeah.
Yeah, because I was staying with a friend and he was staying with his sister, so neither one of us had a place where we could.
Yeah.
So I guess I've done that.
I've only been to I think maybe one or two bathhouses in my entire like existence, and it's always weirded me out. I don't know why. Yeah. It's always weirded me out, and I've never done anything. I've never done anything in a bathhouse at all. It's just it's always like weirded me out.
Yeah, like
I've actually
and I don't say that to like shame, like be like, oh dang, y'all shouldn't be doing stuff, and you know, like I'm not about that life, you know. But I'm just saying, like for me personally, it's just I don't know, like sex has always been like a very heady thing for me, like an intellectual thing for me. And I'm a Leo, so I romanticize like things, and so if it doesn't live up to what I put in my head that it's going to be, I'm not into it, and it don't work. It don't. So like
for me, if it don't fit in the hole right, it ain't gonna work. So like,
oh man,
Kyle, do you relate as a Leo?
Oh my God, you romanticize everything. I mean, I have to set my expectations very low so I don't make myself feel bad about men, about jobs, about anything. I'm just like, all right, well, if it's low, then I'm happy about it. That's why I think being attracted to people, I'm like, oh, they like me. That's like a very low oh, is that a low expectation? Oh God, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to have a moment here, but oh God. All right. Well, that
look, I'm gonna play Iyanla. Speak into this hole.
Oh, you know, I just
spiral.
Something did just pop in my head about a ridiculous one, like back in the MapQuest days, and and it was probably like the Adam for Adam days, and it was a catfish situation. I'm glad this just popped in my head. So literally living in South Bend, Indiana at the time, Mishawaka, Indiana. So it's Midwest, middle of nowhere shit. Right. And I remember, and it was like one of those moments where it was like, oh, this might be a little too good to be true, but if it's Indiana, okay, I'm gonna try anyway, kind of thing. And
it might be that one.
Right, literally. You'd be like, because if I turn it away, and I'm gonna be mad as hell if it turned out to be true. But it turned out to not be true, and I remember pulling up to the place. I'm mad I'm about to tell him myself like this. And it was like an old folks home. And I'm sitting there like, and I remember pulling up like, like confused. Like, I'm like, is this like? So you're looking at your map quest and everything. Like, okay, that's the right address. And I was like, oh my God. I was about to pull up on some like old folks man thing that's been on A4A catfishing dudes. And I was like, skirt.
Oh my God. That could have been his Make-A-Wish. That was
damn. It could have been.
That is, oh God.
You know
what?
I forgot about that too just now. Like the map quest like sparked that. But and like part of me is just like, maybe I should have went on with it. It could have been even a funny. It could have been hot. It could have been, I don't know. But I remember pulling up and literally being like confused, like it's like is this right? And like you didn't have the grinders and shit like to see if the distance was right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And so literally went back home, like got back on Adam. And I was like, nope, that was the right address. I got the right address. I literally got catfished by an old dude. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm actually more impressed that you like printed off your map quest and like had it ready in your car.
You didn't have a choice.
You didn't have a choice.
You didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, there were no smartphones at that point.
Right.
Now with no GPS for that matter.
Not with all the stuff on
No, ma'am.
Going through.
You push the web button and you getting charged 50 cents a minute for being on the internet. Like
that part.
Oh.
Yeah, I did get catfish. So that might be, even though it didn't happen, a ridiculous thing I've tried to do for a hookup.
You know what?
Yeah.
I got catfished once. This was one of those like late night hookups, like long time ago in the MapQuest days or whatever. The guy lived like on the other side of Cleveland, and I was home for like winter break or something like that. And I got to the door and he opened the door and he was not the person that he had been sending me pictures of. And he was much older, let's put it that way. And he was like very like tatted and he was into leather and he had like gauges in his ear. And this was all before like that stuff was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not really feeling this. You know how I'm not into it. I'm just not doing this. And then he was like, well, since you're here, can I at least jack off for you? I was like, all right. So I just walked into his house, which smelled like mothballs. He sat on the floor. He took all his clothes off and he jacked off. And he had like one of those. He had a
like a Prince Albert,
where it's like pierced through your thing or whatever. So like I was really fascinated. I was like, and he was going to town doing his thing or whatever, sitting Indian style in the middle of his living room, jacking off for me. I'm just standing there. I have my coat on and I'm just looking at him. And then
I'm so done.
And then he put his hand, as he was getting ready to come, he put his hand in front of his dick to block the cum because he's a shooter. And so, and he was a screamer too. So he was like, ah! And it was like splattering against his own hand. Like it was coming out really hard. And he was like, ah! And I was just like, I didn't know what to say. And then it was done. I was like, okay, bye.
Oh my God. I am done. I am deceased.
I completely forgot about that.
Right? This is like stuff you just like almost block out of your mind and don't think about ever again. Oh my God.
That's deep suppression skills right there for that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well,
I've never in my life seen anybody come more than that in my entire life. It was like a gusher. It was crazy. And it wasn't pee. Like it wasn't like it was, because you know when you see it.
Yeah.
If you see something, say something.
And I don't know how he got that stuff out of his carpet.
Oh my God.
Jackson Pollock all up in there. It's just like
I am done. I am so done.
Oh,
well, community, we want to hear some of your stories because we be telling on ourselves.
Yeah.
We did not have to share that, but we did because it's fucking funny. So continue to send your questions to AYA@minorityareport.com or DM us. We'll see if y'all share it, because y'all don't be sharing us deep shit. We just, like, we be telling on ourselves so much.
I have stories for days. She has lived.
Right.
Oh man.
Can we include that in our web series?
That part,
Yeah.
that needs to be a scene.
Right.
That needs to be a scene.
Let me tell you about our friend Auntie Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like they got to be in the apartment next door, and all they hear is the scream. That would be fucking hilarious.
I'll have what she's having.
And they open the door, and they just see Dawon walking down the hall. And they got to listen to the podcast to know all the backstories. See?
Yeah.
That'd be funny as hell. Oh, well, I mean, we're already hour and 5 minutes, so we probably need to wrap up soon. But there's a lot going on. We got the Emmy noms. Congrats to like MJ Rodriguez for being the first trans woman to get an actor nomination in a major category, which is awesome. Bowen Yang from SNL. He's like only what's the difference? They have like the lead.
He's a feature cast
member. So the first feature cast member in SNL history to get an Emmy nomination, and SNL's been around for half a century, so that's dope. So I mean, there's just a lot of queer moments in the Emmy noms. So hopefully they win. Hopefully it's not for theatrics and all that stuff. You know how the Emmys be sometimes.
Ooh, girl! And Cedric, is it Cedric the Entertainer that's hosting it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I feel like it's a setup already. They gonna give us a black host, so they don't give black people nothing.
Damn, you might be right. You might be right.
I mean, they've been known to silence us like that before, so I'm just saying. And shout out to Lovecraft for pulling 18 nominations too after being canceled. Look, and when the writer of the show like put on Twitter yesterday that she already had everything ready for season 2, bitch, I was like,
well, maybe another network will pick that up, because they'll do that sometimes,
But I heard that HBO Max has the rights to Lovecraft Country, so it probably won't even happen.
Damn.
Yeah, she signed a deal.
That's
with
interesting.
Apple TV or with Netflix. I think she has signed a deal, but I don't think the show would get picked up by another network.
Yeah. I just like they did such a good job of like wrapping that story up. It's like, where can you go? So unless
the last 3 episodes.
No, there was so much left in that because the daughter had a whole new freaking arm. She killed the white bitch at the end there. The one, like the mom, like the girlfriend had, like the sister was missing. So the sister wasn't there. Like, girl, there was so many open ends at the end of that show. Like, it was not wrapped up. It was not at all wrapped up. So.
And then you saw this. I know, like a lot of people are like, "Oh, sports." We haven't had a sports moment in a while, but Olympics are starting this Friday. This episode comes out, so I'm here for it. We saw the English soccer players get racist attacks for missing their penalty goals. So I'm like, of course, English players. England destroyed the world damn near. So I'm not surprised by them having racist attacks by their players. And then we saw Stephen A. Smith attacking Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese star from the MLB.
Oh, yeah.
For saying that the MLB can't have a star that doesn't speak English, which I'm like, Stephen, that's the most ignorant ass bullshit. Even though Stephen A. Smith is already problematic. True. But to say this shit is like, come on, dude. And he can get it, by the way. Shohei? Is it Shohei, however he said? That's a man, Maury. Woo! Serious. I'm like, Jesus.
And in sports too, Candace Parker becoming the first woman to make it on the NBA 2K22, the 2022 game. So like, there's just a lot happening. There's a lot going on right now, and I'm excited. I'm here for the Olympics, y'all. Y'all just don't know. Look, Mama already plans on being. That's one of the reasons why I'm glad I'm in Seattle, because of the time difference. So staying up late for me is easier to see some of these things. So, Chile.
And
what's your favorite thing to watch?
Oh, go for it.
Gymnastics, diving, volleyball. What else do I like to watch? those are like my go-to. I love watching swimming as well. I love watching and track and field. Oh, I can't forget track and field. Oh, I ate it up. Oh, and my boo from Germany is gonna be in the Olympics too.
That's gonna be a hell of a race.
Look, Johannes Vetter from the javelin thrower for Germany is a fine.
Oh, that's a javelin. What? He is. I follow his Instagram.
Yeah, but he's a
like, that's a man, Maury. That's a man too.
Man.
But who's that guy? Is he also from Germany? Somewhere in Europe, in the 400 hurdles, he just broke the world record. And Benjamin from the U.S. almost broke the world record. So that's gonna be a hell of a race in track and field.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Track and field's gonna be lit. This year.
I like all the obscure sports too that you don't really watch any other.
You be watching fencing, don't you, bitch?
I do, and like table tennis and shit. Like, bitch, that should be lit as hell. Right?
Should be watching the bitches shoot the arrows and shit. Like,
just
the archery and everything. It'd be so good, and the rowing events too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the arms,
honey, and then the thighs on the indoor track racing, bicycle racing. Them dudes with them thighs, honey.
Oh, I forgot about that event too.
Yes, right? Yeah. Now you visualizing it.
Right. And I'll watch tennis too, but I'm only going to watch tennis for Coco. Yeah. Because she's on the U.S. team. So I'll be watching for her. But it seems like a lot of the major tennis professionals aren't even participating in the Olympics this year. So
there's really no need.
Except I think isn't Novak doing it? Because he's probably trying to get that golden
slip. Of course his ass is. You know him. He do. He probably got a big dumbass dick too. And I just would say no still. Damn.
Say no to big ass dumb dick.
Right.
That might be the new T. But and then also we're gonna be on Fear the Queer podcast.
Yes.
So we'll continue this kiki and all that stuff. So we're excited about that.
And we talked so much. We need a part 2.
Literally,
right?
Yeah.
Literally,
we have things to say.
We have plenty of things to say. But thank you two for taking the time to come on. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you so
you
much. We were so excited. Like we got together and we were just like, oh, we're so tired. And then we got together and we were like, this is gonna be so much fun. Like we were like amping each other up. Like, thank you guys so much. It was so much fun.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, next time we're in Chicago, we'll be looking you up and be like, hey,
oh my God,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle will be thrown up out of one. I'll be crying in front of the other. So you'll just see us down the block.
I don't throw up anymore. I don't throw up.
She's like, I'm not about that life anymore.
I'm different. I'm in a new decade. I'm 30 now, so I don't do that anymore.
I love it. But community, stay safe out there. Continue to wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. We will see you next week.
Bye, y'all.